Welcome back to my humble abode. I am Yorkie the Tail Spinner, taking you back to Golarion for more of the tales of the Whispers of Darkness in Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous, with Noir, our heroine, if such she can be called, having reached the Tower of Estrod, close to finishing her work in Canabres. Canabres burns, the city should never have fallen. Fate shows no mercy. Darkness and malevolent rage hide behind many masks, but I see them for what they are. I see them in you. I hear the echo of menacing footsteps. I feel the heat of ancient cursed rage. Old enemy, you will not escape so easily. Servants of the Abyss, you enter the house of memory with evil in your souls. Soon you will be but a memory. Well, it seems that we are under attack. You need to switch back. So that, because it's ghost touched. That's magical. As is that. Ember. Let's head away, shall we? Simple attack. Darkness and malevolent rage hide behind many masks. Okay. We've seen that. Crusader Queen, a copy of the famous embossed bas-relief originally created by Master Derek Sunhammer. Young Queen Galfrey is portrayed personally, leading her crusades into battle on the 1st of Abadias, 4624, during the First Crusade. Yaniel by a fountain. The picture was presumably painted from life over a summer of 4637, 1 year before Yaniel's heroic death during the Battle of Dresden. More details in the Museum Almanac. Among the cloudy colossi. In this picture, two angels. Okay. I'm fighting a deadly, frolicky demon in the air. Several miles above the world wound. More details of the Museum Almanac. Here we stand and will not take a step back. The hand of the inheritor, Herald of Eomede, is depicted placing the first wardstone among the fortifications of Canabres. Seat of Grief, a view of the infamous Heaven's Edge estate. This is the place where most of Mendevian aristocratic society at once fell prey to supernatural plague. Indeed, we haven't been there, but we've seen their child. The red-skinned, long-haired tiefling raises her pain-filled eyes to you. A huge, magical brand stands out on his chest, freshly burned into his skin. The flesh around the brand is inflamed and has an unhealthy-looking hue. Hey, stop, who are you? Crusaders. Well, I was looking to add a couple more Crusader heads to my collection and all. The demons bare their teeth at you, looking ravenous. Their mortal followers start to clamour for your blood, describing in detail the manner and order in which they will tear your body to pieces. Disgusting filth, get out of here before I kill you all. The enemies erupt in swearing and threats at your words. If even half of what they've promised comes true, you will die the most unfortunate and painful death possible on Golarion. I can kill you right now, or I can give you a few more minutes of life if you answer my questions. The tiefling shoots you a vicious grin. You won't be getting out of here alive either way, so why not? Let's have a chat. Who are you? You don't look like a museum worker. I am Faxon, servant of Baphomet, the ranking member of the Templars of the Ivory Labyrinth in this city, and a new master for this tower. And you'd better watch your mouth, or else my curses will rip your soul to flaming shreds. Faxon, the tiefling, the Asimir raised his eyebrows. Why, I remember you. You're that little clerk from the town hall, the one who kept badgering me for a bribe to get rid of some bill or other. Well, you turning out to be a leader of the cultist group is definite proof of something we all knew to be true. All bureaucrats are spawn of the abyss. You arrogant celestial spawn. Do you see now? We're everywhere. You look down your nose at Faxon the clerk, but now you'll bow before Faxon the overlord. I'll repeat what I said to you in the town hall that day. I don't deal with parasites. Well said, Darren. What did you forget in the museum? For the last 3 months, this tower has served as a cover for me and my servants. I set up my base in the cellar of the local museum and smuggled an entire regiment of my Templars into the city. It's the ideal place for a secret hideout. The museum was left in charge of the doddering old man who can barely remember his own name. When our lord struck Canabres, we plunged a blade into the Crusader's back. And a glorious fight it was. Now Lord Xanthia has ordered us to strip Canabres of everything that might be of interest to him, and remove it from the city. He is a great master of the occult and magical arts, and this museum is chock full of all kinds of relics that could prove very interesting to study. You look awful. What's wrong with your tattoo? The tiefling gives you a hateful glare. Lady Minago was displeased with me. She branded me with this rune to make me suffer. Minago wanted me to subjugate the demons of our ally, Descari, to wrest control away from that idiot Kellas, but I failed. But it seems my luck is turning. You don't look like rank and file crusaders. When I bring Minago your head, all will be forgiven, and she'll remove this brand. Come here and I'll remove the brand for you and the rest of your skin. You should have run when you first saw me. Faxon's eyes narrow in fury as he releases a feral shriek that sets his gang slavering for your blood. The demons and Templars give answering howls to their leader and surge forward to attack. Darren, I think a little of that would help.
They'll beg me to stop.
At the moment we're begging you to start, but never mind. It looks like they're at a bit of a choke point, doesn't it? Noir. Well, if we can't get forward to there, we can surely take on the archer.
I'll cut you wide open.
The Inheritor, guide my blade.
Surrender or else.
Right, so we are with Darren. I think a little bull strength on our horse, actually. Well, that didn't do you much good now, did it?
No match for me.
A little afraid, are we? You should be. not quite down. Impressive, Padawan.
The spirits demand your blood. You are today's sacrifice.
Into the fray!
Go.
Why don't you lie down? Maybe not. That's fine. And I think we are now in a position just to attack.
They'll beg me to stop. I'll rip you apart!
Go for their heart!
No glory without risk!
Well, that was a little painful, but we'll live with it. However, I don't know that they will.
Too late for apologies.
Is there just one of them left standing?
No match for me.
Well, that didn't last long, did it?
This way.
Not that I really expected it to.
Wherever my legs
Let's see what's in the basement, shall we? Not much, it seems, but, well, not much so far. A pale and frightened half-elf looks at you warily. His face is twisted into a grimace like he just ate something slimy. Hey, who are you? Hey, praise Baphomet. What are you doing here? Did Faxon send you? I heard a noise outside, but I was busy making a list of relics. Did something happen? What are you doing here? I'm compiling a list of the valuable Crusader artifacts. Lord Xanthir has ordered that everything of use should be transported from Canabres and saved from the looting and destruction. We chose the museum as the place to collect and sort through the trophies. Unfortunately, the local thieves have proved even quicker off the mark than the demons. They ransacked the museum in the first few hours of the assault. Some objects of interest among the exhibits they left behind. The museum custodian has been kind enough to advise me on these. But where is Faxon? Who are you? I'm Telmar, the scribe, and senior raid of Lord Xanthir, the Plagued One. And do forgive me, but Faxon has been assigned to command, has he not? Where is he? Well, it's museum custodian, over in the gallery. I deceived him. I told him I was a crusader. It wasn't difficult, the old geezer is out of his mind, so tell me, where is Faxon? Get your hands off the Crusader relics. The half-elf leaps back nimbly, pulling out a sheaf of papers from his bag as he goes, No, I have valuable letters from Lord Xanthir here, I must destroy them. The cultist balls the paper up in his fist and shoves them into his mouth, then begins furiously chewing like a hamster. A moment later the half-elf's eyes bulge and he opens his mouth, which is stuffed with masticated paper. He tries to cough, but nothing comes out. The failed saboteur looks at you in desperation. His eyes are streaming, his face is growing paler by the second, and he falls to his knees. A strangled wheeze emerges from behind the wad of wet paper. His expressions veer from hilarious to the grotesque as he signals for your help. Wendwag, watching the half-elf suffering, snorts and bursts into brazen laughter. Oh, it seems an interesting thing to watch. The half-elf falls into convulsions, grabbling at his throat. For all the time he looks at you in terror, the bystander to his horrific demise. What an idiot. Goddess punish them all. At least we can see the kind of mind that swears allegiance to a demon lord. I wish all cultists were as dumb as this one. At least the wretch did one good thing in his life, giving us a little entertainment before he popped his clogs. Darren says, with a bored monotone. He was in pain and so scared. Is that funny? Yes. It's hysterical. The comedic performance of the year, replies the Count with no trace of mirth. It all ends quickly. The half-elf's lifeless eyes stare at you in silent rebuke. Right. And we have all kinds of missing artifacts not here. I can't exactly say there are missing artifacts here because they wouldn't be missing if they were here.
Trail me.
The old man, looking around absent-mindedly, shrinks away as you get closer. His head seems to shake uncontrollably, but his hands are surprisingly deft and assured as they level a magic wand at you. Stay back. Which are you, robber or demon? Yeah, lower the wand or else. The old man goggles at you in terror, but he doesn't lower his wand. A rustling comes from somewhere behind him. Rat. The old man wheels around fearfully and peers in the direction the sound came from. The hand holding the wand gradually falls to his side. When he turns back to you, there is no fear in his expression, only vague confusion. You? I'm sorry, I was distracted. What we were talking about? Who are you? The old man lowers his wand in confusion. I think... His expression grows distraught and mournful, as though he is on the verge of crying. I forget. His gaze falls on a piece of cloth, carefully stitched to his cloak, which reads, Teldon, Tower of Estrod Museum Custodian. Ah, I am Teldon, the custodian here. My memory isn't what it used to be. My faculties are failing me, but at one time my mind could cut like a diamond. I was a battle mage, one of the few who survived the Battle of the Lost Chapel. But I'm an old man now. Sometimes I set down my keys one moment and the next. I can't remember where I put them. Well, that's life, my friend. With a pleased smile, the old man pulls a hefty set of keys from his pocket and proudly shows them to you. Here they are, my keys, my little lovelies. I would never give them away to anyone. Remembering himself, the old man hastily stows the keys back in his pocket. The Lost Chapel. Ah, this old fellow here was there. That his mind was damaged isn't surprising. What's surprising is that the old codger can still speak at all in the entire history of the Crusades, which aren't exactly uplifting. This is one of the bloodiest chapters. Some time ago I wanted to know what became of the abandoned fortifications and estates the Crusaders left behind. I read through the accounts of the Lost Chapel. Veterans. Now that was a real bloodbath. What are the keys for? Oh, these keys are for everything. I can open every door in the Tower of Estrod with these. The museum custodian on duty must carry these keys at all times and never be parted from them. Not even for a second. And why is that? Because if the keys were left unattended, they would be pinched by thieves, wouldn't they? Thieves would strip the museum of all its treasures. Give me the keys. Out of the question. According to the museum protocol, the custodian does not have the right to hand over the keys to another. I am personally responsible for the safety of the exhibits in the storeroom. Hey, what's that behind you? Teldon looks round fearfully, and as he does, your fingers slip silently into his pocket. When the old custodian turns back to you, the large bunch of keys is already tucked safely in your belt. Teldon shakes his head in confusion. Go to the Defender's Heart. There are good people there that'll look after you. The old custodian gives you a toothless smile. Really? It's safe there? But how can I leave the museum? His gaze falls upon the traces of the ransacking, and the old man becomes lost in thought, as though trying to find an explanation for what he is seeing. You know what's happened here, don't you? Thieves they were, prowling about, wanted to rob the museum. But I stopped them. Those ne'er-do-wells came in here and I gave them what for. A dose of battle magic. They won't be back. Don't you worry about me. I may be old, but I can still hold my own. Wendwag turns in an undertone, says, "We could run him down, mistress. What if our enemies come here and he tells them about us? His mind is gone." Why did the demon spare you? The museum custodian looks at you in stark surprise. Demons? There'll be no demons in this museum. I heard them breaking into the tower, but then everything went quiet. Then a very polite young fellow came along, a half-elf. He said Canabris was under attack, but the Crusaders had already recaptured the tower. He said he'd been sent to oversee the evacuation of the museum. He was very pleased to find me here. I proved a very useful resource. I showed him all the most valuable relics, explained what they were, and wrapped them up, labelled them, and carried them off somewhere. And I've been here all this time. I locked the doors and stood guard to make sure no demon got in. But I've seen not a one of them. Haven't heard any either. I've grown hard of hearing over the years. Wendwag wrinkles her nose in disgust. Maybe the short lifespan of my people isn't a curse, but a blessing. At least we never lived long enough to turn into something so pathetic. That half-elf was a demon worshipper. The old man frowns in confusion. What do you mean, demon worshipper? What? That fine young lad, so well dressed, so polite. But he said the crusade. Oh my word, the relics. We must go after them. The old man works himself into a state, bitterly lamenting as he roots through his many pockets. The outburst doesn't last long. The motion of his hand slows and his awareness fades from his eyes. He stares off into the distance and then looks at you, wets his lip and sheepishly inquires, "Sorry, did you say something?" I have to go. I think we don't need to hear more from you. You can just do what you want.
What's in wait for me there, I wonder?
Meanwhile, let's have a look through here, shall we?
No secrets can escape my prying gaze.
Now, what is that? I am helpful, am I not?
I spy. What do I spy?
Right.
I'll watch your back. I hope you appreciate this. I am helpful, am I not?
Now some traps disarmed.
I am helpful, am I not?
More magic essence, which is useful. +1 composite bow confirms a critical hit. All enemies in a 10-foot area must pass a reflex save or become entangled. Compared to... That's a +2 bow. A chest. A few ingredients, but nothing special. Oh, is that something there? Yes.
Wherever my legs carry me.
Chain shirts. +2 mithril shirt. 6 max dex. Which means it would be ideal for you to wear, my young lady, wouldn't it? Leather armor. 4 max dexterity. I think for now it might be worth giving that up for this. Marginally destroyed letter. Yes. Telling about the invasion here.
Forwards. No, backwards.
What do we have here? I hope you appreciate this.
We can get across there. And that's just through... Or we can get down there. Oh. Well, that's a thing that happened.
Did you see that?
Yes, we did. Hang on, up there. Might as well pass those tests and gain a little experience. That would seem to be that, I guess. Oh, look at that. A buckler. Well, we seem to be destroying the place. I'm sure there's a purpose to that. Never mind. I think we can finish with that. And then it's back home. To relate our victories and prepare for the assault.
Save the last one for me.
The Inheritor, guide my blade.
I'll hit you!
I will see to your demise.
Indeed. It's a bug's life, or at least a bug's death. Show me what you have. And get rid of all of that. Now. We need to talk to the priest, which is Vasily, about the nightmares we've been having. Are you alright? But willing, we'll hold out until the army arrives. Whenever I sleep outside the walls of Defender's Heart, I'm plagued by terrible dreams. Can you help me? The priest studies your face carefully. You look tired, but otherwise entirely healthy. If we were anywhere else, I would simply tell you to get some rest, but we are on the border of the world wound, and I'm all too aware of what's happening to you. As you know, the wound is a rift between Galarian and the Abyss, and all the evil that feeds the Abyss does the opposite in our world. It feeds on Galarian. So it is that even when we cannot see demons near us, our ultimate foe, the Abyss, is always surrounding us. Many soldiers fighting in the world wound experience similar things. They suffer terrible nightmares, get no peace, and sometimes even lose their minds. But we are trained to help you with this affliction. By the will of Abadar, I have consecrated an altar here. The god's grace permeates the space around it, soothing one's soul and quieting thoughts during rest. So if you find your nerves are fraying, seek out a holy place like this, approach it, and all the corruption will be cleansed from you. I have to go. The burning city shall discuss the great garrison. Gather allies. And apparently we can't do anything about that, so never mind. I thank you for saving the esteemed citizens of Canabris, even though not all of them deserve to be saved. May Amadei forgive my words. Erebeth casts a meaningful look at Count Arenday, sitting at a nearby table. I don't really mean that, of course. I just never fail to be astounded by the way good people seem to perish, while the not so good. Bear with me a moment. While the not so good proved to be incredibly amazingly enduring. Even so, the Count did offer me his aid. He can't be all that bad. Yes, it's not like him at all. Joining the Crusades is a tradition among Mendevian nobles, but Darren Arenday was never too keen on fighting demons. The Count has a certain reputation in Mendev. He is not a pleasant individual by any means, but he's not known for any particular villainy either. The Count enjoys a life of leisure, surrounded by a gaggle of sycophants, who are always eager to badmouth the Queen at his command. He likes settling scores, too. There was a hero of the First Crusades, Sir Lant, a kind and honest man. After the end of his glorious career as a soldier, he became a wise mentor to the younger generation. He ran afoul of the Count somehow. Perhaps by lecturing him about his idle lifestyle and a lack of purpose. When Sir Lant died, the Count managed to buy a portion of his estate and ordered the knight's helmet to be reforged into a chamber pot. And of course he didn't keep his little joke private. The Queen was particularly affronted by it, because Sir Lant used to be her most loyal comrade in arms. I was there, receiving an assignment from Her Majesty, and witnessed the exact moment she found out about the helmet's fate. It's a small thing, but I could see the Queen's anguish at the travesty that had been made of her friend's legacy. That's what our Count is like as a person, and that's for his talent for survival. Do you know the story of Heaven's Edge? He was the only member of his family to escape with his life when the demons unleashed a magical plague on the Arenday estate. Could you tell me more about the events at Heaven's Edge? I don't know the details. It happened a while back, back when I was a mercenary, and had nothing to do with Canabres. I only know that there was a grand feast in honour of Darren's birthday, and all his relatives were invited along for with a few other distinguished guests. Everyone died from a mysterious disease someone had unleashed on the estate, including the servants, the guards, and a number of clerics and paladins. But the young count survived, because of his healing ability, I suppose. Darren does possess an unusually bright talent. Even in the application of his skills, leaves much to be desired. Our best scowls. Why is he trying to provoke the Queen? Who knows? It could be some family matter, the Count is Her Majesty's cousin, twice removed, or something like that. But I think he simply enjoys infuriating people. Crusaders and Iomedes servants especially. Thank you for telling me all this. My pleasure. I'm sorry you had to endure my grumbling. Watching these things happen to my city has put me in a foul mood. The Tower of Estrod has been cleared of demons. Great. And the places where the demons have gathered need to be cleared one by one. Then they won't be able to stab us in the back when we take on the Grey Garrison. Thank you for your service. What's our strategy for the attack on the Grey Garrison? I shall lead the rest of my forces in a frontal attack. This will distract the enemy long enough to let you use the secret passage and reach the wardstone. Destroy it before the demons turn Iomedes' gift into a weapon of the abyss. Most of the allies you've found will join my forces, but you can expect a certain amount of support from them. My opinion on Prelate's Hull Run aside, it is undeniable that his Inquisitors are a formidable force. You'll benefit from their pinpoint strikes against troublesome enemies. In these dark days, the most unlikely allies join forces to fight the common foe. All tieflings are treated with prejudice in Canabres, let alone the smugglers and thieves of their kind, and yet they're on our side. And I'll make sure their contribution is not forgotten after the victory. They'll be of little use in open combat, but they'll help you spot the secret doors and warn you about traps. Everything is ready for an attack on the Grey Garrison. Time to attack. As the story unfolds, you draw closer to events that have the power to change everything. Some quest locations may become unavailable. Proceed when you are ready. Everything is ready. Onward to arms. Oh, no, we're not ready yet because we need to sleep. We have someone at death's door. Can't imagine what type of person could listen to your muddled rambling and find any deeper truth in it. I don't know why people listen to me either, but I'd like to know. Then I could help them more. We've spoken with her. Darren, do you have anything new? People say that you are deliberately trying Queen Galfrey's patience. Is that true? Does it even matter? All of Mendevian high society has declared war on me. They either despise me or they're trying to steer me back to the right path, and I'm doing everything in my power to keep them on their toes. I relish the prospect of all the fun this messing Canabres will bring. Darren grins from ear to ear. I shall either commission a song about the great Canabres fiasco from a certain talented bard, or confuse the jewellers with a rather tall order, a batch of silver dragon toys with detachable heads. Oh, that's cruel. Give me a week, and they will be in every shop in the capital. Your jokes are silly and childish. If you really want to get your revenge, then make your enemies suffer. That is quite dangerous, tiresome, and probably not very fun. Besides, nobody has really pestered me all that much. Still, Darren suddenly adopts a more serious expression. I wouldn't mind making the demons suffer. Our righteous society loves to frown upon the torture of prisoners. Would they frown quite so much if the prisoner in question was an incubus or succubus? I should go. Farewell. The storyteller? Nothing. Ninio? I'd like to clarify a few things. All of that repeats. No. Up we go. Wendowag, anything from you, sweet, submissive Wendowag? Nope. Endara, who's that? An imposing young Oread is surrounded by a crowd of crusaders who are hanging on her every word. I hope this example clearly illustrates the difference between Jitska legionnaires from the last war and the crusaders. The perfection of form and spirit they were imbued with during creation turned them into parts of a well-balanced war machine, not a ragtag bunch of individuals, but a united whole. Now tell me again why I'm supposed to be impressed by your reckless assaults where everyone is fighting for their ego or for the right to beat their peers to a swift, pointless, heroic sacrifice. Some of the crusaders grumble unhappily, but it is clear that they are captivated by the woman's words. The only exception is a scraggly and dishevelled halfling monk, whose puffy black eyes give him away as a brawler and troublemaker. He enthusiastically pushes forward and tries to engage, but one of his friends swiftly jabs him in the back with an elbow, making the fellow pause to catch breath. It looks like we got ourselves a student of warfare. The woman gives you a suspicious look and raises an eyebrow. Were your words meant to recognise my achievements, or to start a fight the way Mendevian crusaders usually do? One of the crusaders angrily curls his fist tightly and retorts with a burst of passion. If those gists of yours, or whatever, had come for us, we'd have their guts for garters. You think we've never fought a mighty adversary before? The soldier's stern face cannot fully conceal his relish. He clearly plans to enjoy this confrontation. The crusaders around him look upon their exotic opponent with a mixture of irritation and piqued interest. The woman chuckles before cutting off her interlocutor. I would love to see you storm a 60-foot-tall walking castle shaped like a gigantic elephant that carries siege fortifications on its back. And I'll have you know these fortifications are defended by Jiskan priest craftsmen, armed with demon-bound war machines. They use the enemies you cannot defeat as mindless weapons. The woman gives the people around her a triumphant look and adjusts her hair with pointed nonchalance. Her voice takes on a lecturer's tone. You should not argue with someone who happens to be the most authoritative researcher on the history of warfare 3,000 years before the foundation of Absalom. The woman looks at you and flashes an amused smile. The lecture is over. Do my esteemed listeners have any questions? This is the last war you mentioned. The last war of Jistka. A large-scale conflict that took place 3,000 years before the foundation of Absalom. It was a war against the Arisian pharaoh of forgotten plagues. The war that ended the legendary Jisca Imperium. An epic struggle that became the most vibrant page in military history. Alas, all conflicts that followed it were but a pale shadow, including the one I'm witnessing now. Why do you find the last war of Jisca so inspiring? Imagine legions of golems, imbued with extraplanar gifts, marching into battle. Imagine flying cities that swoop out of the clouds, like terrifying monstrous birds of prey to drop forces on top of enemy castles. Picture gigantic mechanisms powered by captive and very angry demons and devils. Imagine standing in the warpath of walking citadels, or having to cover your ears to block out the sound of cannons loaded with shrieking elementals. Finally, imagine the ultimate weapon that defeated the Jistka, the deadly night plague. This affliction was an attack dog, a trained epidemic, a tamed pestilence, striking only those who its master wanted to kill. Imagine all these terrors and understand that no flight of fancy can even come close to the horror of the nightmares that they made real. How do you know so much about Jisca's last war? I can say without false modesty that there is no more authoritative researcher on Galarian when it comes to the history of warfare 3,000 years before the foundation of Absalom. I've dedicated my whole life to the subject. I've personally visited old battlefields and studied the most mysterious and forbidden archives, containing chronicles of ancient wars, sometimes risking my life in the process. I saw a fallen city of the Shori Empire with my own eyes. I ripped out the control crystal from an exterminated class combat golem that guarded a Jiska laboratory with my own hands. These fingers held the glass flask that the servants of Pharaoh of Forgotten Plagues used to create the first generation of pestilence that devastated the Jiska Imperium. How do I know so much? I saw and touched everything I'm telling you about. You're wrong to treat the Crusade with such disdain. Allow me to explain. A debate? Oh, I'll be happy to prove the current conflict can't hold a candle to the last war of Jiska. Very well, the last war of Jiska was waged using a significantly greater number of troops. Both sides actively relied on reinforcements from allied planes, and their strategic planning was perfected through no fewer than 7 rounds of intensive design. None of that applies to this war of yours. Compared to the Jiska, we are but stone-wielding kobolds. I would like to conclude my thesis with a few words of the wise counsel of Dagon, an advisor to the Pharaoh for the Forgotten Plagues. I doubt you'll comprehend the true genius of the statement, but here it is nonetheless. A gadfly sees the ox pays no heed to the gadfly, but crimson fever takes them both. The principles of war are always the same. Weapons, causes, resources may change, but the foundations remain immutable. Indara's eyes display frustration as she hears the audience, clearly impressed by your arguments, murmuring approval. There is logic in your words, I will give you that. Yes, the concept of war does not change, but the degree of sophistication in the methods that we use to destroy our foes. The woman stops, realizing her words, no matter how ostentatious she makes them, no longer have the power to captivate the audience. Indara offers a pretentious dismissal. As a scholar, I cannot deny there is a certain truth beneath your sceptical statements. History is a complex discipline rooted in fact, and an evidentiary base that grows ever more meagre the further the described period is from the present moment. Of course, if I were to argue in bad faith, the way Crusaders embellish their tales of slaying a single Brimarak by adding a dozen Balors, for example, I could win this debate, but I am above such things, and therefore I am forced to admit that your scepticism is not entirely without merit. I'm sure you've been able to expound on your arguments in a longer discussion. Indara nods with obvious relief. I'm glad we both understand this limitation. It's always a pleasure to face a worthy opponent, even if the debate takes place in a grimy tavern. Perhaps especially because of that. I chose that because I don't know if she'll play a part later on, whereas if we throw her out, she probably won't. Indara, we got a claw of Jiska, unbuckles her sword belt and hands you the weapon. This is a worthy blade. It will be of use not only for the strong, but also the wise. And this is where I bid you farewell. Before the end of the day I was planning to observe how winged demons use pack tactics to drive their prey like herds of livestock. It is about time I got back to my research. The hint of a smile graces Indara's lips when she sees disappointment in the eyes of the many crusaders around her. Stay safe. And she's gone. That is a kukri. That is rapier +1. That is Claw of Jiska's short sword. Sealer. 7 to 17, 8 to 17. It's about the same as Marching Terror, except you get a sword and board with it. Flaming enhancements +1 finesse wielding. 9 to 20 for Dark Horn. Damage when equipped. So it's 16. 9 to 20. Dark Horn is cold iron. That's useful. Which means that doesn't need to be there anymore. Which means she can hold that with her. No. No. She can. She doesn't need that. Let's get rid of things we're definitely not going to use. I can't help but feel I should keep that. Nobody's going to use that. Rapier +1 we have better. Shadow of Cold. Heavy Mace of Fire, we're not using that. Nobody's choosing a Kukri. Not using them. I think we're okay there. So, we're going to end there for tonight. There are links around to other gameplays on the channel you may enjoy. That is a like and a subscribe if you wish to help us grow. And there's a section for comments if you wish me to respond. I've been Yorkie the Tail Spinner, welcoming you to my home. The Chihuahua has been sleeping before me, and you have been wonderful. Very well.